Hello guys, and welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to cut an overbust corset. So these are all of our pieces after cutting and transferring to our fabric. So this video I'm going to be dividing it into two. So this is going to be the pattern drafting, and then in another upcoming class we'll do the stitching. Okay, so these are lines that I placed. That's the shoulder line, the bust line, the under bust, the waist line, and then the full length of my corset. So the first thing, so those are all of my points: 11, 14, 18, and then 23. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I want to add my shoulder line. So I want to draft the basic bodice, add a shoulder line. That's, I'll divide my shoulder measurement by 2, and then I'll place it, and then I came down by 1 inch. So from that 1 inch I'm going to draw my armhole line. I'm using 8 inches. So that 8 inches, I'll connect it that way and just connect it. So this will serve as my chest line. So I'll come out by 1/4 of an inch, and then I'll blend in my armhole this way. So basically what I'm just doing is like a basic bodice first, and then before we start adapting. So at this point now I want to take my bust span measurement, which is 4.5 inches. So the full bust span, that's nipple to nipple, is 9, but I'm just going to use 4.5 inches, which is half of my nipple to nipple. Okay, so I'll connect that with a straight ruler. You can see I marked it across the whole lines. So I'm taking out a neckline of 3.5 by 3 inches. So even though this neckline I might not use it, but it's still going to serve as a guide. Okay, so I'll just connect it that way, and then from this point I want to add a shoulder dart. Mind you, we're drafting the front pattern first, so I'll divide what is left there into 2, and then I'll connect it to that straight dart line, so you can see how and what I am doing. So at this point I'm just trying to get it to blend properly. Okay, so you can see, yeah, so I'll just connect it that way. So that's for my shoulder dart, so I'll connect it that way. And then the next thing I am going to do now, I want to take out my dart. So for the dart I want to use 2.5 inches dart. So that 2.5 inches dart, so I'll place 1.5 on one side, and then place, that's on the right, 1.5 inch on that one part, and then on the left hand side I'll place 1 inch. So at the end of the day, the dart, everything is going to be 2.5. So this is suitable for a bust 40 below. Okay, if anything, if the bust is bigger, you can use 3 inches. So at this point I'm blending that. I'm using a curve to create it to meet my bust point line. Okay, so that's what I'm doing at this point. So after that, at that chest line I want to tighten that part. So to do like an overbust tightening, I'll just use like 1 inch for that. So I'll mark half of an inch to the right and then half to the left. So with that I've succeeded in tightening that upper part, so I don't have any gaping. So if you want to register for my online class, that's my number. So at this point I'm adding a bust dart. So that bust dart is the difference between my back and my front piece. So for this I use 1.5. So just came down to that point and then mark 1.5. So at this point now, what I'm trying to do here now, I'm trying to mark my dart. That's to extend the dart, because I don't want it to be straight, you understand. So I just want to do a little bit of an alteration at the down part of my dart. So what I did, I just opened up a little bit at the down part, so that I'll get the part, so that I'll get my corset to not to be straight at the center. So at the down part of the other one also, I still did that same alteration. I just marked it that way, so you can see. So with that, my darts are not going to be straight. So at this point now I want to do an underbust tightening. So for this underbust tightening I want to use half inch. That's, I want to take out 1 inch first from my measurement, that's for my waist measurement. So you can see the way I am blending it, you understand. So I'm just taking it out from my underbust and my waist point alone. I'm not going to let it get to the down. So after doing this, the next thing I am going to do, I want to extend this line, you understand. Okay, sorry, at this point I'm taking my full body measurement. Yes, that's what I was trying to do. I'm taking out my full body measurement, divide by 4. That's my bust measurement, divide by 4. And then I'll add my allowance. So this is my under bust measurement also. I'll divide it by 4 and then bring back the original dart. So you need to bring that back, and then I'll place it that way. And then this is my waist measurement, divide by 4, and then I'll add back my 2.5 inches dart, and then add a little bit of stitching allowance. Okay, so this is my hip measurement. So for the hip part, I'm just adding the dart back and then adding stitching allowance. So after everything, I am going to curve my pattern and then check and see how my pattern looks. So at this point, most times when you are sewing, once you've gotten to this part, you should be able to know if your pattern has any issues. Depends on the shape that you are seeing. Okay, so mine looks good, so that's good. So I will continue. So the next thing, I want to open up my dart, but before I do that, I need to cut out the side of my pattern. Okay, yes. So now what I want to do now, I want to open up my bust, my shoulder dart. So the way for me to open up my shoulder dart, I need to close the bust one first and then open up the shoulder one, because if I don't do it like that, if I open it, it will look somehow. So you will understand what I'm trying to say now. So now I've closed that part now. So I've closed that part, and then I am going to open the shoulder one. So why I want to open this shoulder one, so that I'll be able to continue the drafting. So you can see, you see naturally, because I closed that part, you see it opened. Once you cut it open, it will stay open. So at this point, I came up by like 5 inches or so. Please like this video, and if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. So I came up like 5 inches. That's from top. I came by 5 inches. So this part, because of I've closed that shoulder, that there's going to be a little bit of truncation. So I'm trying to blend that part in. So at this point now, that tightening that I did earlier on, I am extending it up. Let it go above that chest line. So this point now, that's the over bust line. Why are we extending that line? So that the curve, so you'll be able to curve your over bust properly. So now I am closing back that shoulder dart. Why did I close it? Because I want to draw a neckline. So from the side of my shoulder, I came down by 2.5 inches, and then I'm going to connect it to that 5 inches line. So that's the essence of that over bust line, for you to help you create out a neckline. So that's the essence. So you can go up as much as you want, and then you can come down as much as you want. So you can see, so that line, remember that line, that over bust tightening line, I'm trying to extend it. The essence of doing this is that so that the bust, that chest area, it will lay flat. If not, it's going to be standing like something else. So that is why. So you can see, so like I said, that neckline, you can do it however. You can go up more, you can come down more. That one depends on what you want, how open you want your over bust corset to be. So that is that. So at this point, I'm trying to shape in my armhole. You understand? So I'm just trying to shape in it nicely. So after this, I want to tighten the other part of my waist. So what I did, what I was left with at the side, I just divided it by 2. And then after dividing it by 2, I want to create like another dart leg there. And that dart leg that I'm going to create, I still don't want it to be straight. So you can see the way I positioned my, what do you call it, my ruler, and then I slanted it. So at this point, I think I like what I have. It looks good, it looks okay. So after this, the next thing, I want to tighten this part. I want to take out another 1 inch from my pattern, so you can see. So I came in by, okay, sorry, at this point I took out just half of an inch, so I used like quarter of an inch. That's what I use at this point now. Yes, it was not up to 1, and 1, it was not up to 1. So I've marked it. So everything that I took out from the front was 1.5 inches. And then from the back, I'm still going to take out 1.5 inches. So at the end of the day, everything that I tightened dress width is going to be 3 inches, 1.5 inch to the front and then 1.5 to the back. So at this point I'm just trying to create a like a basque effect. I might still change it, I'm not very sure yet, but I've just created it. Just came up by like 3 inches and then just curve it into the waist, into the front part. So at this point now I am cutting out all of my patterns. So normally it's because I'm teaching. Normally if I was doing this without recording this video, this neckline I will not add it to my pattern. I'll finish coupling, joining my piece before I will add it. So that's what I normally do, but this is still okay. This is still okay, yes. So at this point now I'm just trying to trim my pattern, to trim them. So you can see this is my front piece. I just labeled them 1 2 3. So like I said, just is a simple process. So let's go. So this is our back piece. So I'm placing all of my lines back, my shoulder line. So from that shoulder line I came down by 8 inches, which is for my armhole, and then I'll connect it. So divide your bust measurement by 6 and then add 1.5. That will give you your armhole. You will know where to place your armhole line. So after placing it this way, the next thing I'm going to add my neckline. I'm using 3.5 inches by 1.5 or 1 thereabout. This is for the back piece. You don't need to be too deep. So from here I'm marking my bust pan. That's I want to add my dart. Remember we used 4.5 initially, so I'll mark it across. I'm going to mark it to the top because I want to add bonings, so I'm going to cut it all across. So for the back piece I'm taking out my normal 1 inch dart. This one is normal dart for that you need to take for your pattern, not the snatching of the waistline. Okay, so after marking it this way, the next thing I want to take my full body measurement. So after marking my bust measurement, divide by 4, I'll add my allowance. So that's still on my chest line, and then on my bust line extend the line. So at this point I'll mark my armhole. I just forgot that I realized that I did not curve out my armhole at this point, so you can see. And then I'll come to those points like this. I'm going to mark my under bust measurement and then bring that back my 1 inch for my dart. This 1 inch, original 1 inch, put it back and then put the allowance that you use to join your dress. Okay, so at this point now, this is my waistline. I'll divide it by 4. Use your own applicable measurements, place it, and then mark, create your curve. So when you create at this point, you take a look at your pattern. So now what is left at this point, like I said, I am taking out another 1 inch now for my tightening. So you can see like I'm doing like an additional dart. So that is what is about. So now I'm left with half of an inch. So I'll check what is remaining here. So that line, I'll divide it into 2. So for this one, I'm not going to slant it, I want it straight. So you can see, so that remaining half of an inch, I'm going to take it quarter of an inch. I'll divide it into 2, place one on the right side and then place the other one at that left side. So you can see I have succeeded in tightening my bust, my waist. So at this point, because I want to add eyelets to my pattern, I am taking out 2 inches. So I'm cutting that 2 inches off from my piece, even though I did not add allowance, I did not add zip allowance. So but I'm still taking out 2 inches. Okay, yes, because but if you are adding a zipper, you don't need that. You place your zip allowance. So for the neckline, I just came down a little bit below that bust line, sorry, a little below my chest line for the back neckline, and then I just curved that in. So like I said, I'm not going to be using the yoke. So these are my pattern 1 2 3. So I'm going to cut them off. So this is going to be for my back piece. So please like this video. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I would appreciate. So these are all of my pieces. In the next class, we are going to start the stitching. Thank you for watching. Bye.